All right, man. As we all know, the 2021 NBA season is officially over. And when these off-season moves happens and these trades and free agency signings and things like that, we love to grade them and speculate on what we think is going to happen right there. But nobody really follows up on them. And that's exactly what this video is about. Today, we're going to look at some of the biggest moves of last offseason and even some during this season, because as we all know, some big significant trades happen, and I want to see exactly how they aged so far. Now, before we get into this video, and specifically Dr. Swish, because I'm giving out some grades today, let me shout out today's video sponsor, NordVPN. NordVPN is just clutch, bro, and I feel like everybody should be using it. Pretty much it keeps all of your online data and traffic secure while allowing you to roam the internet freely. Also, it's actually proven that NordVPN has the quickest speed and, to me, the least amount of troubles and ultimately the least amount of restrictions with the internet. Here's a prime example of where NordVPN will be clutch for me and probably you too. Say I'm traveling and I'm outside the country, but I want to watch Michael Jordan's Last Dance documentary, and say the country I'm in, it restricts me from watching that documentary as some countries do. All you got to do is pick from one out of the 60 countries they provide NordVPN, and you can go back to watching Michael Jordan talk about how great he is for 10 episodes. Like, it is that easy. NordVPN gives you 5,300 different servers and 60 different countries to pick from. You can always get to where you want to get to with the internet. Also, they can be used on up to 6 devices. They're available on all major platforms, and they give you a 30-day money-back guarantee. So you really have no risk in this. If you want to roam the internet as you please while being as safe and secure as possible, visit nordvpn.com/swishout or just type in my personal promo code SWISHOUT. Here they'll give you a 2-year plan plus 1 additional month with a huge discount. Big shout out to NordVPN for looking out for the channel and specifically my guys. Now let's get into this video.
Hey, look, when you look at your season, at one point you were 17-32. And then you go 17-6, and you work your way into this tournament, now into the playoffs. What did that tell you about what this team is made of?
Resiliency, man. We got a lot of guys in this locker room. We've been through so much, COVID, injuries, but we stuck with it. You know, we had a time in our season where we could have quit, but the guys in the locker room didn't do it. Did an amazing job of sticking with each other, sticking to what we do and what we know, and we put ourselves in position to be in the playoffs.
I'm going to start with one of the biggest trades of this past offseason, if not the biggest trade, Russell Westbrook. I did this exact video mid-season around March, and I gave this trade a C- on both sides. At that specific time, Washington was 14-20 and the Rockets were 11-23. I really didn't see an impact or any significant change on both sides, so it was just a C- at that time. Now, at least for Washington's side, since that specific video, they did go 21-19 to finish the season. Not the best, and they went on an 8-game winning streak during that time span, and they made the playoffs barely sneaking in, so you can see some impact. Even though this trade was still a little underwhelming to me, pairing a former MVP and a 30-point per game scorer on the same team and still just making the playoffs and losing in 5 in the weaker Eastern Conference, I'ma still give it a B. Simply for the exciting moments that Russell Westbrook did produce, breaking the triple-double record and things like that, that did give the Washington Wizards some momentum going into the playoffs, and the fact that they showed some resiliency that I think they got from Russell Westbrook down the stretch. Like, they were fighting tooth and nail, and they did make the playoffs, so I'm gonna give that a B. On the Rockets side, I'm gonna actually go down a grade. Originally, I said a C-. I'm gonna go down to a D+. John Wall was pretty much like a downgraded version of himself, shooting career lows and splits, and even after somehow missing 2 full seasons and getting paid like $40 million a year to do it, he still came back and missed half the year. Like, he didn't really give you too much, so I gotta give you a D+ for that one. The Charlotte Hornets, they actually went all in with Gordon Hayward and made him look like a smart-ass man. Like, this man opted out of a contract that would have paid him $34 million in that specific year after he just averaged 10 points in the playoffs. And it's safe to say he won. Instead of actually settling for that one big contract that Boston paid him, he searched for more money and he found it, and it kind of worked out for both sides if you ask me. Even though Gordon Hayward isn't like a LeBron James or a James Harden as far as names and all that, I think him being a pretty significant name and the fact that he chose Charlotte, a small market that doesn't get free agents, that helped build the momentum of at least the progression of Charlotte as an organization. This is an organization that in the past decade, they've done nothing. Like even when they had Kemba Walker, it just looked like a little cute team that may make the playoffs, but they have no direction. Now, even though they didn't make the playoffs, they have some sense of direction based off the season they just had. Gordon Hayward, he comes in and immediately makes his vet presence felt, and he actually produces, and he was actually playing winning basketball. They had a winning record when he was on the court. He just couldn't stay healthy. LaMelo Ball, he comes in and he's way better than I even thought from the start, and he wins Rookie of the Year. Miles Bridges, him and LaMelo Ball had some crazy highlights together, so that can be a great duo going forward. Terry Rozier, he had the best year of his career. PJ Washington, he's going to continue that red pill community on YouTube and all that stuff with the stuff he's doing off the court. So everybody is thriving, bro. Like everybody was thriving in Charlotte. I'm going to stick with my original grade on this one, and I'm going to give this a B+. James Harden basically forcing his ass out of Houston and getting traded to Brooklyn. That was obviously the biggest move of the year, like by far. And if we're being real, bro, it was looking really scary for the NBA, like really, really scary. Before the NBA playoffs even started, I picked the Brooklyn Nets to win the NBA championship, as you guys probably know. And not to take away anything from the Milwaukee Bucks, I'm happy they won. I probably wouldn't rather have any other champion right now. I'm still almost positive if the Brooklyn Nets didn't get hurt like they did, I would have been right. James Harden gets injured like 3 seconds into the second round, and Kyrie Irving gets a nasty ankle turn in game 4. So this ultimately resulted in Kevin Durant pretty much doing everything by himself, with James Harden being hobbled, and they never really got to finish what exactly they started. Still, even with that being the case, I'ma still give this Brooklyn trade a A just off of potential alone. In the first round, when everyone was healthy, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden, they looked unbeatable and they all played great. During the season, even though, they didn't play a lot of games together as a trio, whatever duo they threw out there, Kyrie Irving and James Harden one night, then James Harden and Kevin Durant, then Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, whatever they threw out there, it worked. Everybody bought into their specific roles and they won. Now, going into next season, the Nets still have the best odds to win the NBA championship on damn near every other site. And depending on what all three of them do in the 2022 offseason when they all can be free agents at the exact same time, this can be a crazy trio for at least the next 5 years. The last time I did this video in my mid-season edition, I didn't include this trade because obviously it didn't happen yet. But the Nikola Vucevic Chicago trade, it was definitely one that excited me, and I told y'all in that specific video, I think that trade has a lot of potential. The Chicago Bulls, they've pretty much been a sad franchise post that whole D Rose era and all that, and with Zach LaVine clearly being on the verge of superstardom, it was very satisfying to see him paired with another all-star quality player. After Vucevic joined, Zach LaVine's production did take a significant dip, but that's pretty understandable saying that growing pains are normal, especially when you make a drastic move like that during the season, and the fact that Zach LaVine caught the virus and had to miss 3 weeks and that hurt their playoff chances. Like, I can excuse all that. I'm more excited for their future. We all know Chicago, they've been a dumpster fire these past 3 seasons, and now at least they have 2 of the top 35, 40 players in the NBA, and they have enough cap room and assets to make a splash move if they so choose. So their future, to me, it looks pretty bright. Even though this move hasn't proven to do anything yet, I'ma still give Chicago a B+ for going all in while you have Zach LaVine on a disgustingly reasonable contract and a bunch of cap room. Like, why not make this move? As for Orlando, it's kind of hard to give them a real grade because their trade was more for the future, but I'ma still give them a solid B. You got Otto Porter on the end of that bad contract, so thank God for that. You replace Vooch with Wendell Carter Jr., who doesn't have the highest ceiling to me, but he still can be productive in kind of like that Horace Grant type of way. And you have 2 of the top 8 picks in this upcoming 2021 draft. And you have a number 1 pick in the 2023 draft. So at least you got out that weird no man's land where you were making the playoffs, but you're not going nowhere. Like, at least you're building for the future now. So that's good for Orlando. Like I've been saying in the past few videos, Jrue Holiday has had a pretty unique role to me in this year's playoffs. And really what I mean by that Drew Holiday's scoring and his shooting splits, they took a significant hit from the regular season in the playoffs, and when he did contribute offensively, it was pretty inconsistent and a little sporadic and all that. But what he did defensively, basically taking away the other team's best playmaker, picking him up 94 feet, harassing Trae Young in game 6, taking him completely out the game, bothering Chris Paul in game 4, all that, it damn near covered up all of his offensive inconsistencies. Just for the moments this man had alone in the most pivotal moments, specifically the NBA Finals, this is an A+ move, obviously. And lastly, Chris Paul to the Suns. This year, it was like a complete representation of Chris Paul's career. Like, this one specific season for Chris Paul, it summed up his career to the T. Go to a new team, normally a team in need of that leadership presence, which he filled for them, completely change the culture and drastically improve the team, which he did for the Phoenix Suns, get injured, which he did, and ultimately not really show up when you need him most. Even though Chris Paul, to me, didn't exactly seize the moment as that vet, specifically in game 4. He chose the worst time to have the worst game of his career. And game 5, he was coasting too long and waited too long to take over the 4. It's a lot that Chris Paul kind of bothered me in that NBA Finals. I'm going to still give this an A+, obviously. He took a team that was a poverty franchise for like the last 5, 6, 7 years, didn't even make the playoffs for the last 10 years, and he brought them all the way to the NBA Finals. That's an A+ move. If you guys like this video, make sure you guys like the video. This is like one of the only things I feel like I have to myself in the NBA YouTube community. Typically, people grade the trades when they happen, but nobody really follows up on them, so that's what I like to do. Make sure you guys follow my social media sites, turn on post notifications, do all that great stuff, guys, and until next time, as always, stay tuned.